I think this is one place that's really crucial. I've been a pastor for 37 years, and I've learned some very valuable lessons on that. Because first of all, you got to remember that there's life outside of being a pastor, but unfortunately, way too many of us measure our worth, our very worth, in being who we are and what we are. You know, in other words, I'm a pastor above anything else. But did you forget something important here? Like maybe that you're a husband and a dad too. And so the thing that is very important on something like that is this. We need to make sure that we take time down, okay? But first of all, you got to realize something even more important, that if you are allowing the church to determine your worth, then you got to ask yourself, you might have an idol in your life. I know I did. And you see, what happened was we used to dread the weekends, my wife and I did, because we knew Sunday was coming. And it was like everything rose or fell with what happened or didn't happen at church. And so all of a sudden I was preaching a sermon series on the 10 Commandments, and I said something that really was self-fulfilling the prophecy to myself. And it's basically this. I said in the sermon, I said, that which determines your emotional state is an idol or a God in your life. And I suddenly realized I'm sitting there going, oh my goodness, all these years I've got a God in my life. Because every weekend I'd wring my hands, who's going to show up, who's not going to show up, what's going to happen this week, how come the attendance was low, or how come the budget is not doing as well as I would hope it would. And so what I had to do, first of all, is realize there's life outside of being a pastor, because I'm not measured by being a pastor. I am measured, and my worth is being a redeemed child of God, period. And so I was able to lay the church on the altar and say, God, this is yours. If you want to build it, build it. If you want to shut it down, it's yours. I will be faithful and serve you. With that said, then, there's a second step. To survive for the long haul, you've also got to be able to take time down. And a lot of pastors are terrible at this because we've been guilted into this feeling that we have to be there, Johnny on the spot, all the time for our people. And if we're not, we're some type of failure, or we're sinners, or it's bad, or whatever. Well, I'd have to challenge you. I think not taking time off is a sin. Because, if God took off time after creating the world in 6 days, I think you should too. The fact is that we burn ourselves out because we don't take time down. And that's not being a good steward. Because first of all, you're sinning against yourself. You're not rejuvenating yourself. You're sinning against your family, who needs their dad and their husband, or whatever it might be in that case. And then you're sinning against God because you're being disobedient. And finally, you're sinning against the congregation you're serving, because you can't serve when you're fatigued and burnt out. And so when you get to rest and relaxation, it makes you that much more effective for the other 6 days.